God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. I'm so glad that we are here on today. We have a special presentation that we're doing on today with JDL Ministries. We are discussing the wealth gap in America, the great wealth gap in America on today. And I have some phenomenal individuals that are going to be sharing with us on today, who are going to be giving us some insight, who's going to give us some tools on how we can address the great wealth gap and what we can do to address it, and then to kind of close that gap. We need tools. We are in a situation where there are multiple things that are going on in regards to our economy. This wealth gap that we're in, it is one that the world knows about, that America really understands. There was an article in CNBC in October of this year, where J.P. Morgan Chase has made a dedication to providing $30 billion in a commitment to help close the racial wealth gap. That in itself lets you know that they understand what we're dealing with and the times that we're in. So much so that they themselves are interested in making sure that they address the situation themselves, and even contributing to help close this wealth gap. I am so thankful for the guests that I have with me on today. I have with me Miss Sheree Mativia, who is a credit repair expert or specialist. I have with me Brother Sean Johnson, who is Mr. Sean Johnson, who is a financial analysis, a financial analyst, and financial management expert. And then I also have with me Mr. Michael Badan, who is also a financial analyst and financial specialist as well. And they're going to give us some information in regards to what we can do to address the wealth gap that we are experiencing in America. Just as you are listening and as you are receiving this information on today, a couple questions I have for you. What is your credit score? Is your credit score 600 or better? Or is your credit score 600 or below? What is your credit score? What is your credit utilization? What is your financial analysis look like? What does your debt analysis look like? What is your financial plan for the next 5 to 10 years, for the next 11 to 20 years? Do you have a financial plan? Have you looked at your debt analysis? Have you looked at these things? Have you began to look at these things? What is your life insurance policy looking like? Or what type of life insurance policy do you have? Are these things that you've taken into consideration? Have you prepared for the future, not just for your children's college education, but have you prepared yourself for a downturn in the economy such as we're experiencing right now during this pandemic? Are you prepared for this? Are you prepared for this to go even further than it's happened even now? We've been in this situation where our economy has been down for about 5-6 months, although the pandemic may officially started in February or March, but the economy began to take a dip. And if some of you are working still and you have 401ks, if you looked at your 401k, it has been a roller coaster. It's been going up and down, up and down, up and down. All of that lends to the wealth gap that we experience here in America. And I want to bring in these individuals. Welcome, Ms. Sheree Mativia. Welcome in Mr. Sean Johnson. Welcome in Mr. Michael Badan. And I am so thankful for all of them being with us on today. This is going to be a wonderful conversation. This is going to be a great conversation. Feel free, make sure put your questions in the comments. We're on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube even now. We're on YouTube. I'm putting the link there. If you go there to that YouTube, or just pretty simply, if you go to youtube.com/36JAYDEE. If you go there, youtube.com/36JAYDEE, and you begin to put your comments in, we can begin to share those comments, and we can begin to put them on the screen so that they can answer. I want each one of our presenters to greet us and just share a couple minutes introducing themselves. We're going to start with Sheree. Sheree, if you would just introduce yourself.
How you doing? Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am Sheree Mativia, and I am a financial literacy consultant.
Amen. Thank you. And then Brother Sean Johnson.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Again, Sean Johnson, and been in financial services for some time and just passionate about it. Love the opportunity. Out of everything I've done, I've never experienced anything that is more rewarding than being able to give back to people in this manner. So, Elder Law, thank you so much for putting this together.
Absolutely. And then Brother Michael Badon.
Thank you again so much, Elder Lott, for this opportunity. My name is Michael Badon. I'm a regional vice president with Primerica. I've been in the financial services industry over 19 years, helping middle-class families understand what the wealthy tend not to teach us about money. So I'm excited to continue that education and help individuals in that aspect.
All right. This is going to be phenomenal. I promise you all, you are going to love this. You don't want to jump off early. You want to get all of this. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give each one of these individuals a chance to share their information. They're going to share. They're going to present what they do, how you can contact them, how they're here to help you. And they're going to give you all their information. And then we're going to come back together. We're going to begin to answer your questions. We're going to have some dialogue. We're just going to have fun with this as we inform and educate our people. So let's just start with Miss Sheree Mativia. Sheree, if you wouldn't mind, just share with us a credit specialist.
Mm-hmm.
And what exactly is that? And how does that work? How do we begin to understand what you do and how we can benefit from it? If you wouldn't mind just beginning to share that with us, please.
Absolutely. So as a credit specialist, a financial literacy consultant, one of the things that I often say is that the journey of for your new credit score, it really starts with a phone call. You really probably should talk to somebody. If you don't have it in you to, have the fortitude, if you're just dreading it, you really need to get a hold of somebody and have a conversation. Someone who is knowledgeable, someone who can help get you on the right path and lead you to those tools and resources that are going to help you and that are going to set you on the right course. So I would say, reach out to me if you need to reach out to me. If you know someone else who is a credit repair specialist, someone who can help advise you, consult with you about some of the things that you can do personally, please do so. It is certainly a conversation worth having, especially when we talk about, moving that wealth gap in the other direction. We want to, shorten the gap. We don't want to widen it. So talk to somebody, have a conversation about your credit, have a conversation about your financial habits, because your mindset around your financial habits, your relationship with money, all of those things matter. And they come into play when you're trying to rebuild your financial life and to rebuild it solidly and to rebuild it, to be powerful and actually to do what it is you're creating it to do.
Thank you, Sheree. That is phenomenal. And I just have just a couple questions where people can contact you. Your phone number is here where they can see your phone number. But if they were to ask you to provide your services, is there an initial cost just to get started?
No, not to get started. So the consultation is free. We will talk, 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes, just depending on your personal situation. And you can reach me either by texting 240-422-8241. You can also DM me on social media. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook at Sheree Mativia Enterprises. But again, reach out, have a conversation, and start somewhere. Because you cannot move the needle on your credit by doing nothing. Doing nothing is the worst thing that you can do. And I'm speaking from experience because I did nothing. I had a situation that I faced where my trauma response was to do nothing. And it was not the best decision. It's harder to climb back when you're climbing back from scratch, from doing from zero. Your momentum, it takes longer to get that momentum going. But once you do, and you make up your mind that you want to fix your credit, that you want to be, part of the 3%, not the 97%, then you actually will start making those decisions and doing those things, researching what you can do in order to improve your credit, in order to create better financial habits for yourself. And of course, I was just going to say, of course, that's something that I can also, provide guidance, tools, resources on as well.
Okay. Now, so many people just look at credit and all they can think about is their credit cards. Can you just share with those that are watching on today, what exactly makes up a credit score?
Okay, great. Yes, absolutely. So your credit score is made up of several different components, one being your credit history, the other being your credit types. Your inquiries also matter. And so, there are so many different parts. And the other thing is, when it comes to calculating credit score, there are different credit score models. So that's how TransUnion can have a different score than Experian, who can have a different score than Equifax. So credit card is only one part of your credit makeup. That is the revolving credit that creditors like to see. They want to see you making those on-time payments. They don't want to see your credit utilization being high. Keep it under 30% if you have a credit card. But that credit card is only just one component, because there's also installment loans. That's your mortgage. That's your car payment. Your revolving, which is your credit cards. You have store cards that is also revolving credit. But just again, when you're trying to build your credit, you want to be cognizant of the types of credit that you open, as well as how your utilization is calculated and figured.
Oh, that is good information, and that is information that we definitely can use when we're looking at this wealth gap and how we move on. So, Sheree, I want you to hold on, because
Yes.
I know there's so much more information that you can provide us, and I'm going to move on to one of our other presenters. Thank you. Don't go nowhere.
Okay, no problem.
This young man I'm bringing on, Brother Sean Johnson, Mr. Sean Johnson, is a phenomenal young man, and he has been helping individuals in many different areas, so much so that I even had him to come and speak where I work, where I manage at Kaiser Permanente, and speak to some of my employees that were getting ready for retirement. And a lot of them were speaking of retirement, but no real plan. They had no real objective of where they were going. So, Brother Sean, if you would just share with us what you do, and then some of your information, and how people can use your services and what your services are.
Absolutely. So again, Elder, thank you so much for putting this together and bringing us all together here, because it's so vital that we get together, especially us as minorities get together and we share the information that's out there. So my goal is to go through and be able to sit down and chat with people and show you, let's take a look at what we have. What are our options as we're going through and trying to figure out, well, what am I looking at? What are my goals? Do I need to retire? Do I need to have insurance and coverage and protection right now? What am I doing for that? So I usually start off by asking people a couple quick questions. One, are you financially where you want to be right now in life? If you step back a few years and you said, hey, by the time I'm 33, 43, 57, are you where you thought you'd be or where you want to be right now? Number two, what are your goals and dreams? And does the vehicle you're using right now have enough horsepower to get you there? Do you have enough income? Do you have enough opportunity to grow to get to achieve your goals where you're at doing what you're doing right now? Third question is, if we saved in the next 10 years, the same amount of money that we saved in the last 10 years, would we be happy about that? Most people, when we ask them, they're saying, no, I got to do more than that. I got to do better than that. So what I like to do is be able to come in and sit down and put a plan together for people, because people don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. And if we don't know what our options are when it comes to retirement, when it comes to saving our money, when it comes to taxes, when it comes to our insurance on ourselves, where do we go? So it's just really taking an individual look, being able to have access to a multitude of companies, and make sure that each individual is able to start a path towards that goal and their own success in their life.
Man, that is phenomenal. Sean, I hear what you're saying. I get it. But when you ask those questions, do you have the vehicle to get you to where you're going? And they're unable to answer them, or the answer that they provide is a negative response. Where do you go from there? How do you move forward from that point?
Great question. And the first thing is just getting people to think, having that mindset and thinking about, hey, what do I want to do? And once they realize that I need to make a move, I need to do something different, then we start talking about their goals, find out where their skill set is, find out what they like to do. Do they just need to make additional income? Are they being held back at their job? Do we need to look at a different source of income? Is there an opportunity that I might be able to extend to them to be able to increase their income on even just a part-time basis?
So, Sean, when you get that answer, and when you look at those different things, and then you begin to do a financial analysis, what all are you looking for, and what are you expecting for them to provide to do that financial analysis to see if they have what they need to accomplish the goals that they have?
Just a simple breakdown of what their current habits are. What are you doing right now? How long have you been doing it? Is it working well for you? And do you understand what you're doing right now? Do you understand the tools that you're utilizing right now? Because so many people, they sit down and they have that Me Too plan. They have the plan that the person in the cubicle next to them has, or they have the plan that their dad had, that their grandparent had, or they've listened to somebody that doesn't necessarily know. They haven't taken the time to be licensed and a student of the business and understand what to do. So once we figure out what someone's habits are, what their goals are, then we start to formulate the specific direction and specific plan for them to carry it down that right path.
All right. Great, Sean. Don't go nowhere. I'm going to bring you back, but I want to move on to our next presenter, Brother Michael Badon. Did I say it right that time, Michael?
Badon. Yep.
Badon. All right, there we go. Is that Creole name?
Yes, sir. Louisiana.
I am just completely impressed by the conversations that I've had with Michael, and it started with his brother Charles. The conversation started for me was looking for an additional stream of income, but also in that I also was looking at my life insurance policy and wanted to see was I getting the best out of what I had. I have a life insurance policy, and I'm at the point where my wife and I are getting to that place where we're looking to become empty nesters, and we want to, move forward to that place of retirement. But I needed to know if everything was all right. Michael works with Primerica, and he has some wonderful information. Michael, I'm not going to step on your toes because you can present it much better than I can. Just share with us what you do and how we can learn more from what you provide, the services you provide.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, Elder Lott, I really absolutely appreciate this opportunity to share, and to all of those that are watching and to the other presenters, I appreciate you all as well. One thing about Primerica and what we do, I am elated to be a part of this company. My father got me involved many, many years ago. I played with it forever, but now I take it serious. You get married. I've been married for about a year now. Thank God for my beautiful wife. And you just mature and you get a little bit more responsible. And everything that we offer and what we do for families, it's necessary. It's a necessity, and it's an essential thing that everyone needs. In America, we're facing a lot of challenges. People are living paycheck to paycheck. People are not investing money for their financial future. Households are carrying credit card debts in excess of $16,000 or more. Nearly, almost 50% of families don't have enough life insurance. There is an epidemic in that aspect. And Primerica as a company, all we want to do is address those issues. And we've aligned with partners that have been with us. We've been around for 43 years. Some of our partners have been with us since the very beginning to help us put a plan together to help our clients have a more brighter and successful future. So basically what I do is I provide strategies. I want to give a strategy for a client, a family, to have a more dignified retirement. The purpose of life insurance, that's the foundation to any type of financial plan. And I call it wealth packages. I put together wealth packages for my clients. And in the foundation being life insurance, people think it's taboo or something like that, but that's not how the wealthy thinks. And I always ask the question before I get into any type of detail with the client. I ask those questions, just like Sean stated. You ask those questions as to what do you want? Where are you trying to go? What are the things that you want to accomplish? And one of the questions I often ask is, would you like to be wealthy? Now, everyone has a different interpretation of what wealth means to them. But when I'm asking, it's a surface question. Would you like to be wealthy? If you could have an income that never stops, would you be okay with that? And you just want people to start thinking. And how to get that, you have to be able to fill an overwhelmingly huge need that addresses a large group of people. And if you're able to address that need, you could become wealthy. So we provide strategy. Most of us, all of us, 100% of us have residual bills. So we need to have a residual income some kind of way. And what we do here is we want to help our clients put a game plan together. And it starts with the foundation. We do life insurance. And the reason why we teach that is because if a person is relying on your income, when I say a person, a spouse, kids, nieces, nephews that live with you, and you're providing the income as the head of household or the breadwinner, whatever you want to call it, and that income stops, those people that are left behind, what are they supposed to do? So the statement can't be, just put me in the backyard. I don't worry about me. That's not the statement. It's about the ones that you love that you leave behind. Life insurance is a responsible thing for people that love their kids, that loves their spouse. God forbid if something were to happen prematurely. All of us know our birth dates. None of us know our death dates. So that foundation, and this is what the wealthy do, the foundation is life insurance. Then you take the next step. You get your will, you get your budget, all of that kind of stuff. So you're building that foundation, and then you're doing your retirement accounts and all of those things. We help our clients where they are. So we ain't trying to get people to break the bank. Generally speaking, in most cases, we're able to use the money that our clients are already spending, and we just reposition the money that they're spending to make it work more efficiently for them to reach their goals and dreams. And I don't think nobody on here would be mad if I showed you how to have an extra $1 million or $2 million in retirement. And all it is putting a plan together, putting a strategy together to put your money where it's going to work just as hard as you work on your job. Your money is working just as hard as for you while you're sleeping. That's our whole goal. That's our primary focus, is to help you reach your goals. It's not about me getting paid. It's about you reaching your goals, because most entities, most institutions, everybody is pulling at your money. They're trying to take from you. We're trying to provide to you. So there's a significant difference, but it all starts with the conversation. If you want better, if you want more, we have the tools. We align with some of the biggest and most powerful financial institutions in the world that have been around for hundreds of years, that partner with our company to help our clients have that, dignified retirement and customize and tailor plans specifically that meets their needs and help them to get them to where they want to get. So everything starts with making a decision to say, hey, I'm a grown up, I'm going to be responsible, and I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing for my family. And you're talking about, Elder Lott's talking about a wealth gap. And we wonder, especially in the Black community, we wonder why this person has this or why that person has this. Everything we got to, number one, like the Bible said, we got to sit down and count up the costs. And I know we got a couple of people that ascribe to the Bible. We got to count up the costs. And sometimes we got to sit down and see where we are and assess to make the adjustments so we can get to where we want to get. and providing those strategies, showing people where they are and helping them to get them to where they want to go, everyone wins. The company wins, the client wins, the agent, the financial advisor that does that package for them, everyone wins and everyone is happy. And that's our whole focus. That's our primary goal, is to address the financial challenges that we face in America. We're not talking about no third world country. We're talking about right here in America, paycheck to paycheck. People got less than $1,000 in their savings. I'm not making, that's the facts. People have credited our flags. And as a company, as a financial advisor myself, I'm determined to help people if they want to help themselves. And at the very least, I want to be able to plant a seed to get people to understand that there is opportunity here and there is a chance for you to change your life. You just got to make that determination. We're here. I reach out to people all of the time. It might not be the right timing, but I'm going to stay here. I planted my flag because I'm committed to impacting and changing our community for the better. And with financial literacy, we got a better chance to do those things that can really impact our communities. And if you got some money and you could teach somebody else how to get money, you can't lose. And I'll end with this. If a person that makes $50,000 a year, right, for example, and they want to make $1 million in income, or they want to make $1 million a year, they can't learn how to make $1 million a year from a person that has only made $50,000 in their lifetime. You got to seek out somebody that became a millionaire and ask them what they do or what they did to become a millionaire. You can't learn from a person that hasn't gotten there yet, if that makes sense. So the goal is, if we want to grow, if we want to, bridge this gap that we face in our communities, you got to get around people that are successful. It might make you feel uncomfortable, but I made that declaration for myself. And I believe that there's a ton of people out there that are researching, that are looking, want to do better, looking for more. And here, all I'm saying is we're here to help. I'm committed to this. No one can sway me or change me and take me away from this, because I know it's necessary and people need, because people are always dying. We know people that are dying. We know people that are getting married, having babies, buying houses. So I'm in an industry that it is insatiable, number one, and there's always going to be a need, because there's money in money and people utilize it every single day. Thank you so much, Elder Lott.
Man, I tell you, if no one had ever told me you was a preacher, you sound like a preacher. It just all came out. That is phenomenal information. I don't really even need to provide any follow-up questions, Michael, but I want to bring everybody on because I want to be able to have this conversation. As I said, we are in a wealth gap in America. It's a very obvious wealth gap. The statistics have shown, and they are really out there in our face, that in the African American community alone, if we were to catch up to the wealth of just the Caucasians, it would take us another 400 to 500 years just to get to where they are right now. So thinking about that, and this question is for everyone. How do we in the African American community begin to close the wealth gap? How do we begin to close the wealth gap? Let's start with you, Sheree, and then we'll work our way around, Brother Sean and then Brother Michael. How do we in the African American community begin to close the wealth gap?
Well, it's hard to talk about addressing the wealth gap without talking about the apparent and obvious discrimination, systemic racism, racist policies, things of that, and lower wages that have been holding people of color back from really succeeding and being able to advance as fast as others. And I say that we face all of that in spite of being as educated, as worthy of success, as talented as any other group. But here are some of the things that we can do now So the first thing, and I believe that everybody here has already touched on this, is to educate yourself. Get the education, educate yourself, educate your children, please. Sign up for some free course. It doesn't matter, but do something by way of educating yourself on what you need to be doing in order to impact your future, the things that you need to do differently that are causing you not to move as quickly or that's impeding your progress. Find out what those things are, educate yourself, and then begin to do better. The other thing that we can do is save. We need to learn how to save. As Brother Benon said, $500, $1,000 savings is, a lot of folks don't have that in savings. And that's the cost of any average emergency is usually between $500 and $1,000. Save that. If you can save that, then move on to saving 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. Be able to take care of something should you lose your job, should Corona or pandemic, who knew what that was going to happen? But save that 6 months up so that you're not trying to stress out and figure out what you're going to do, and you're still able to maintain, your level of living. Be a good steward with your money. Be intentional about spending. We can't continue as a people to only be consumers. We have to begin to produce opportunities and produce ways of increasing our income, decreasing our expenses, but we have to be better stewards of our money. And I think if we do some of those steps, and I mean, there's a ton of others, I'll list some for the brothers as well, but there's just a ton that we can do that is personal accountability, things that we as individuals can do that will eventually help move the greater good in the right direction.
That's great. Sean, come on, man. What do you have?
No, absolutely. I love it. And that personal accountability, it does start with me. It starts with you. It starts with us as individuals to own up to it. And hey, let's get out there like we're doing right now. Let's talk about it. Let's put it out there and have the conversation about money. Let's, like we've all echoed, we got to be educated. We've got to know that there's information out there. There's a ton of information in books. Well, this is what would the Rockefellers do? Mm-hmm. Wealthy Americans, family banks, they've set themselves up. They're good for pretty much ever because they learned the rules that were out there. They learned the options and they're taking advantage of them. They're implementing that which they've learned. Think about it this way. If you three are all my older siblings and we're all going to sit down and play Monopoly, you guys have been playing for a while. You know the rules. I don't know the rules of the game. I'm your baby brother. Do I have a chance in this world at winning that game against y'all? Not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And guess what? We're all out there in the world and we're playing this money game and we're playing with these older big brothers and sisters that do not treat us like brothers and sisters. And they're squashing us. We've got the information. That's why we're all here today. Mm-hmm. Now, Proverbs 15:22. Plans fail with the lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. Mm-hmm. We're here to be the advisors for everybody. We're here to share that information so we can actually bridge that gap and do it intelligently, not just go out there haphazardly. Let's throw it up against the wall and hope it works. Take a calculated path, a planned path, and we can get there.
That's great. Oh my goodness. This is some good information. Brother Michael, come on, put the icing on the cake. How do we begin to close the wealth gap in the African American community?
Everything that's been said is absolutely outstanding. The only thing I would add is just to have an open mind. If we don't open our mind, because if you're always thinking, why does he have that? Why does she have that? Let's open our mind and ask those people. If they're not willing to give it, there's got to be somebody that's willing to offer information. Mm-hmm. My senior partner, now I always tell this to my clients, and it's serious. I'm a black kid from Pontiac, Michigan. I didn't grow up we were middle class. My parents had good jobs, but they didn't know anything about money. My senior partner is a millionaire that I communicate on a weekly basis. And when I say it sometimes it felt uncomfortable, but it challenged you to get better. So you got to have an open mind because there are people. He's a multimillionaire. He spends time with me every week. There are people out there that are willing to pour into you that want to see you succeed. And I asked him one time, Elder Lott, I asked him, I said, why do you take time out? Why do you do this? You're wildly successful. Why do you pour into people? And he's a 6th-degree black belt. And he said, my sensei told me the only way they're going to get this information is if I give it. That's the whole purpose. So he continued. He's like, why do you still teach? And he said the reason why he still helps us in the financial services industry is because people need this information. And then he also said it's exhilarating to see people succeed. You see a person where they start and then they end up in a better situation, a better place. It's just, that's exhilarating. And it's a lot of joy that comes from that. So the key to it is to have an open mind. If your mind is open, then the world, like just like when we were kids, all of us had big dreams and aspirations. Then you grow up, life hits, right? You suppress those dreams, or you think it's impossible. Nope, I'm telling you to dream again. And
That's
then
right.
that creation, that mindset that say, hey, I'm somebody, and God created me for a purpose. He created me for a reason. And when we give back into our community, what can you say? So I mean, I'm blown away by everybody here, and I'm excited for our future and breaking this wealth gap. I'm excited about it.
Man, we're going to do it. We're going to put the tools in people's hands to be able to begin to start closing this gap. Let me say this before I move, but I neglected to add this. We have almost all 4 corners of this country covered right now.
Awesome.
Brother Michael is in Michigan.
Mhm.
Sister Sheree is in the DMV area, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and then Sean is on the West Coast in California. So listen, let me tell you something, people. There used to be a time when you could only use people who were close to you, but the world has changed so much, and this pandemic has opened our eyes so much that if you're in Michigan and you want to use Sheree, you can. There's multiple ways you can get in contact with her. You can go to her social media. You can go to her email. You can call her. Same thing if you're in St. Louis and you want to work with Brother Sean. He's in California. So what? Distance means nothing. There's FaceTime. There's Zoom. There's Messenger on Facebook. We got all these different methods that we use to be able to contact each other. So I want you not to feel limited because Michael's in Michigan and Sheree is in Maryland and Sean is in California. Don't feel limited. And we'll share their information as we come to as we close out on today. Just some more questions that we have. This question, and all of you can answer it because it does affect what each of you do. How does our credit score affect the great wealth gap in America? Credit scores that we have, how is that affected by our wealth gap? Michael, let's start with you on this one. How does our credit score affect the great wealth gap?
Credit is a big deal, and I know Sheree, she's gonna school us on this. But the biggest thing is, like, when you're trying to go to purchase a home or buy a car, obviously the better your score is, the better interest rate you're going to get. So when it comes to it, especially in financial planning, when you sit down with an advisor, and I know Sean can attest to this as well, the game plan is to get your finances in order so you can have peace in your home, right? So when you know how much money you're bringing in on a monthly basis, and we're investing for our future, we have life insurance, God forbid if something were to happen prematurely, we're attacking our debt. When we get those things in order, it aligns our credit. And when we got a credit score of 740 or higher, whatever it needs to be, higher, it's more beneficial. Now you hear people say cash is king. I just use cash for everything, which is not a negative thing. But when you want to buy some stuff and you got great credit, I mean, you can turn the tables on the credit card companies, because they're looking for you not to pay on time. So the benefit of having a good credit score, it opens the world to you. So just to have that ability, I mean, is more beneficial for you. And like I said, the goal is peace of mind. And if you got the whole entire trifecta, the whole entire circle, the finances, the credit, everything will be beneficial. And then you're displaying a pattern before your children, and they can follow that. We can break generational curses. And I don't know, in Detroit, Elder Lot, you from Detroit, I know you know, but people used to put DTE bills and stuff in their kids' name.
In their children's name.
So I mean, we gotta make that shift. Once we make that shift and we get our credit scores up, I mean, it'll be beneficial to everyone around us.
All right, come on, Sean. I'm saving Sheree for last on this one.
Yeah, because Brother Michael, like you said, she got to school us anyway, right?
Yeah.
But I think that the reality is, and Mike, you covered a lot of it, that life is simply less expensive with a good credit score. Because one way or the other, at some point in your life, you will need your credit. I remember talking with a young gent years ago, and I was helping with some financing on some stuff, and we're looking at his credit, and it was really shallow. He only had 3 or 4 pieces of credit, and one of them was $75 he owed to Verizon. And he said, this, that, and the other. Forget you, Verizon. No, I'm not paying them nothing. I said, bro, I understand that you might actually be right. You could be right. They could have messed up and made an error. But if they're not pulling that off and you're not doing your diligence to get that removed, it's $75. That $75 could be preventing you from getting approved at all. And if you do, your interest rate's going to be through the roof, and you're going to pay way more than that $75 that you're trying to spite the man on because you want to stand your ground and I'm right. And when it comes to the wealth gap part of that is a legacy. And leaving a legacy, a big part of that is land, property, a house. If your credit's not good, that doesn't put you in a position where you can buy that home, that starter home, that property, that investment property that sets up that family legacy. And that's another source for that reoccurring income, for those reoccurring bills. So again, it just goes right back to knowing what your options are and knowing, guys, it's not too good to be true. We have beautiful resources like I know we're about to hear from. I'm about to learn something. I'm excited too. That, hey, it's not too good to be true. We just got to take advantage of it and believe that we deserve something that good.
All right. Come on, Sheree. How does our credit score affect the great wealth?
Oh my goodness.
I know the pressure is on, but you have the key. Come on.
So, okay. I will start off by saying that, of course, credit, good or bad, is just, one aspect of fixing that wealth gap here in America. We know that statistically people of color had been discriminated against in housing. And so they were either denied mortgages or given unfavorable loans if they, terms if they were approved. On average, we spend more in mortgage interest than any other ethnicity or other group. So you couple that with, people being intentional about suppressing the values of people's homes. That also contributes to the wealth gap. If I'm not able to sell my home for its true worth, I have to sell it undervalued. That's less money that's coming into my family. That's less money that I can pass on. And so I know that there are people, we're in the middle of this election. Look, folks, vote. If you're not voting, you need to vote because your vote definitely impacts your property taxes. It impacts your judges. It impacts, future developmental plans in your neighborhood. It impacts gentrification. So if you're not voting, we need to have a conversation, DM me. But debt is expensive. It's been said a couple of times that debt can be very expensive. It can cause you to either have to pay more in interest or it can prevent you from being approved altogether. And when you're spending all of your money trying to pay off debt, that's less money that you have to save. Less money you have to invest, less money that you have to pass on to those future generations, less money to donate or to give. So you want to be in a position where debt is not ruling your life. And because debt also is what's causing, the financial angst and the financial insecurity. And when you get rid of those things and add to your peace of mind, you empower yourself to be able to be a part of that community movement when it's time to do some things and it calls for you to have good credit and good savings. You'll actually be able to participate. No opportunity will be off limits to you when you have your credit straight and when you got your money straight. When your financial habits are good, nothing on this earth can be denied you, especially when you get your hands on a couple of more people that think, do, and act just like you do. When you get a group of 10 or 20 people who all have credit scores over 750 points or 800 and have good financial portfolios, they have their life insurances set up. They have a will and trust. They have their ducks lined up. They know their net worth. They have a budget. They have a savings plan. When you get people who have the same mindset and you bring all of those folks in to one group, baby, that group is unstoppable. There's nothing you can't do. There are communities, there are people all over this country right now who are partnering up and literally buying back the block. They are coming together and rehabilitating neighborhoods, but that costs money. And if you're not using cash, you're going to use credit. And if you can't get credit, you can't participate. You see how that the opportunity has passed so many people over, and folks realize the people who were getting passed over, yours truly included, said, I can't keep being passed over for opportunities like this that will not only empower my community, but that's going to last for generations to come. Those are some of the things that are impacting and are affecting our credit, that are affecting our financial standing in the world. And we got to get ourselves straight. We have to get that credit together. We got to get those financial habits because the community needs us.
Wow, that's powerful. Oh my goodness. Sheree, you said a whole lot there, along with what Sean and Michael contributed. But the one thing that you said I really call on to is that it provides for generational wealth. And I think Sean mentioned that too, when you talk about being able to invest in property and buying real estate. That's generational wealth. You hear about it so often where parents have bought homes, and when they pass on, that home goes to the children, and the children hold on to that home and they take care of it, and they pass it to the grands, and that's 3 generations that's benefited from that one purchase. But credit allows that to happen, and we have to know how to use that. And then the other thing you said, Sheree, and I think you may have cursed at some people when you said it. You may have upset some people when you said it. Michael and Sean are laughing. I think they know where I'm going. You use that B word that a lot of people are not fond of, and that was budget.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. You may have cursed some people. We may have lost some guests that were watching because you cursed at them and said the word budget. That's one of those words that people have a problem with. It's hard for them to stomach. It's hard for them to swallow that. You mean I have to be disciplined with my spending? You mean I have to be disciplined with my saving? I see those Nikes that are coming out, and it's not in my budget. I can't go buy them. And those of us that go to church, those brothers, those sisters that go to church, you mean to tell me that suit that I saw, that hat that I saw, those shoes that I saw, that I just gotta have, but they don't fit into my budget? I can't go purchase that. That you may have upset some people, Sheree. I just want to let you know.
If anyone has aught with me, they can DM me. But it is the basis. It is the foundation of any solid wealth plan. You cannot have wealth without a budget. It is virtually impossible. Yes, you can amass enough wealth that you don't have to know how at any given moment how many pennies, down to the penny, what's in your bank account. But you still have to have a budget. You still have to know what's going out. You still have to know what's coming in. Period.
Before we move to the next question, Charles, Sean, I know you all run into this quite a bit as well. When you are trying to help someone, when you're giving them the tools that are going to take them to the next level, and you begin to tell them, listen, we need to make sure that you have a budget. How do you handle that that conversation when they're not really receptive to that, or they've never been on a budget? Sean, Michael, how do you all handle that?
I say you've got to meet them where they're at. You've got to understand, hey, like I said before, what are your habits? Do you have the habit of saving? Do you have a habit of spending? Because they're both habits.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, hey, those new Nikes come out. If that's my thing, I got to get them. Then okay, well, if that's something you got to have, so be it. I'll work with you on that. But those Nikes go in the budget, which means your Starbucks and your extra loops around the block. And oh, you remember those wheels you wanted for your car? Those don't fit in the budget anymore, but you can get your Nikes and figure out what your priorities are, and give them the tools. Give them that budgeting spreadsheet or a calculator. I can give people something that'll, like you said, track it down to that last penny, or I can give you something that's a bit more open. But either way, you've got to have something, because again, that's the basic rules, is having a budget and understanding that I can't just say I'm going to make more than I spend, because if you're not tracking it, it doesn't work out. Real talk. I sat with a gent this morning that has $10,000 in his savings account, but when I asked him what his monthly expenses were, we were $2,000 upside down. But he says he saves money every month. It's like, okay, well, I can see you're saving money because you have money in your savings account. And that's not usually the case. It's usually the other way around, where people don't overestimate their expenses. So it's okay, hey, here's some tools you're going to use to track your spending. But if you don't know what you're spending, you have no idea where to start. So create that starting point and then build up from there.
Yeah. So it's a couple of ways, somewhat unorthodox. But generally, I'll ask a question, after you do a presentation for a person and you educate them, I would ask a question like, if they're not doing anything financially towards their future, now that we've explained the importance of having a financial plan, are you ready to budget on a monthly basis towards, meeting your goals and your expectations of things that you want, not what I want, what you want? And they say yes to that question. I know my business, we shifted 100% to Zoom. So I actually had a client appointment today in a house, and that's the first time and since COVID. But generally, back in the day when we used to go to clients' houses, and you dealing with budgets and people, like you look at their house. I mean, they got 80-inch screen TVs, they got cars that they're working on. It's just like, what are you doing? It's like, you don't have no life insurance, and it's just like, in a nice way, you're pointing out to people, like, if we make some minor adjustments here, we can help you reach your goals, because that's why we're asking, what do you want? And like Sean said, I'm going to meet you where you are. I'm not, because we're not in the business of trying to make people spend money. We're trying to make people, reposition the money that they're spending already. Because a lot of times we waste so much money, we don't know it. And all the budget is doing is identifying where the money is going. And some people, like I had a client, she's a great client, but she told me up front, I like to get my nails done and my hair done. Don't mess with my money. Like, she was just, and we were able, we put a beautiful plan for her together. And she laughs to this day. But I'm like, I'm not gonna mess with your hair and nail money. That's not what I'm trying to mess with. You can find the money somewhere else. But it's just identifying where people put that. And I know, especially in the Black community, I ain't messing with nobody hair and nails.
No, you won't.
Check out your life insurance policy.
Yeah, that new wife is going to be blessed if he mess with somebody's hair and nails.
Don't mess with that money.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Listen. I have just a few more questions, and we are coming to that 1 hour mark. We'll go about an hour and a half, and we may not be able to get to all of the questions that we have. What is the difference? And Sheree, you can actually help with this one, because credit does sometimes play a factor in this. What is the difference between term, whole, and universal life insurance? Because I know people have insurance now. They're looking at different life insurance policies, But I'm gonna start with Michael and then Sean and then Sheree. What's the difference between term, whole, and universal life insurance? Michael, if you could just school us on that.
Sweet. Yeah, absolutely. So basically, you got term is just pure protection. There's no savings, no other thing associated with it. Whole life, universal life, variable annuity, all of those different types of life insurance, those are considered cash value type policies. And all that means is life insurance and savings bundled together. So what we teach buy term and invest the difference. So we break off and we just market term insurance, just term. And then I'm investment licensed. I have a Series 6 and 63, and I'm able to invest the difference for my clients. And the benefits of that is pure term insurance in most cases is a little bit cheaper than the cash value whole life type policies. And then the ability to invest the difference is when you invest into the global economy, like the banks, like the credit unions, like the insurance companies, you could get a better rate of return on your money. So we're able to teach our clients how to get a 9, 10, 11% rate of return on their money. And when I was talking earlier, you want your money working for you while you sleep. You want your money working as hard for you as you work as hard for your money. And we're able to help our clients, get them the coverage that they need. Because think about it this way: when it comes to life insurance, when you have people depending on that income, and if you today can't put your hands on 150, 250, 500,000, $600,000 today, if you cannot put your hands on it, like if you go to the bank and get that money out, that's the purpose of life insurance. So we call it, you rent wealth. You're renting wealth for a little bit of money as you grow wealth. And we open mutual funds. Our company, we represent over 1,100 different mutual funds, and we open retirement accounts as little as $25 to $50 a month. That's not going to do a whole lot, but this is what I teach. Oatmeal is better than no meal. It's better to have something than not to have nothing at all. And a lot of my clients, they shake their head and relate like, oh, he a real brother. Yeah, I ain't trying to break the bank. So we just want to get you started, because once you get on that path, and the reason why we teach it that way is just to help our clients save money. So term, pure protection is just like car insurance. If something happens, if I die, it pays out. That's it. You don't get nothing back from it. And then we teach them how to invest the difference. Cash value is the life insurance and savings bundled together. And that's the difference between those two products.
Rashawn, I know that's something that you help people with as well, as you're doing their financial analysis. Can you just share just a little bit and add on to that what Michael is providing? And then Sheree, if you can just jump in, because a lot of people don't understand how that credit is beneficial when it comes to that life insurance as well. But Sean.
No, absolutely. And Michael, I love that. I say the same thing. When we talk about your term insurance, I say your term insurance is kind of like your car insurance. Nobody really wants to have it pay for either one of them, but you're so much better off to have it not need it than need it and not have it. Because I tell you what, if you don't, you can be just up that creek and it's no fun. When I talk with my clients about term insurance, your term insurance it's really your income replacement. It's while you're still working, and there's people that are still dependent on you to provide for them, or heck, you got to provide for yourself. Because the reality is, we get sick or injured or pass away too soon, life doesn't stop. Our bills don't stop. They still keep coming up. And something I'm able to show people is term with living benefits. So it's not just life, it's not just death insurance, it's a life insurance. So if you get sick, injured, diagnosed with a chronic, critical, or terminal illness, you'll actually have access to that money as a tax-free check to go to you to do what you need to. So be it pay your bills off, or be it spending some time with the family, hey, you're able to do that while you're alive. And yes, the term insurance is definitely going to be much less expensive, and it covers you as you're building everything up. Now, we look at whole life versus universal life. You're really looking at your growth of your money. Right? Universal life is typically going to grow you a whole lot better. But if we look at, hey, are we looking at a 1% rate of return or a 12% rate of return? Which would we rather have? Obviously, getting that double digits is going to be beneficial.
Right.
So when we look at investing into life insurance as an investment tool, it's basically investment grade insurance where your money is able to grow. You're able to have the tax advantages. You don't have the worry of the risk of loss with the money in there. And reality is, when we go to retire, what do we want to do with our retirement? Do we want to ration our retirement, or do we want to live out and enjoy our retirement? So if we structure the plans correctly, we're able to utilize the money that we've saved up, but still know that we're going to leave a legacy to our family. And we don't have to worry about, well, gee, what's going to happen? And another tool we can use is putting your money in a place where you don't have to worry about running out of it. Right? So if you pass away before you've used all your money, then guess what? That money is going to go to your family tax free. Even if it was from an old 401k, we're able to take money that would have been taxable and make it tax free, death benefit to the family. And if you live out, guess what? You'll never run out of money. So again, it goes right back to knowing your tools, knowing your options. And Michael, like you said, same thing. No lie, I'm sure you're the same way. Somebody comes to you and says, hey, I got 10 million, I don't know what to do with. We're not turning you away.
Yeah, absolutely not.
But if somebody comes to us and says, hey, Sean, I've only got $50 I want to save for my child, or I've got, I can save a couple hundred a month, I'm going to help them out. I'm going to give them a starter plan, because starting with something is something. And the sooner we can get out there and talk with people and share with people, especially the young people, the better off it is, the easier it is. Not only in creating that habit, but if I sit down with somebody that's 55 years old and they say, oh, I think I can scrape together 150 a month, and you want to retire in 5 years? If you're in your 20s and you can save 150 a month, guess what? I can turn that into something. That's going to look really good for you. So it's easier to save when you plan sooner, and just having that proper insurance in place and understanding how they work, you put together such a great tool for yourself and your family.
Come on, Sheree.
So I want to say this, it was actually life insurance that was one of the reasons that I decided to become a referral agent for the company that I work for when it comes to credit repair, because I knew that life insurance was one of the fastest ways to move my negative net worth in the right direction. So keep that in mind, people. But whether you leave behind bills or wills, you got to leave something behind. And your life insurance policy is going to be the best way to do that. We are told our entire lives that there are things that we should have planned for. We should plan for kids. We should plan for college. We plan for emergencies. We plan for retirement. But rarely do we have that last conversation about planning for death. And all of those other situations, kids, emergencies, college, retirement, you can kind of figure out a plan B. You can look back and say, oh, I can figure this out, or I can do this, or we can shift gears. You can't do that in the situation about death. You can't do anything. Now the people who are left to pick up the pieces are those that you've left behind. And you got to determine what you're going to leave them. Are you leaving them something, a package, something that is tangible? Are you leaving them a plan? Are you leaving them something that they can distribute? Are you leaving them something that is a guideline of the things that you wanted to happen with your wealth, when you passed away? What are people supposed to do with the information? Do they know what to do with that information? Do people even know you have a life insurance policy? It should not be a secret. And I'm saying it shouldn't be a secret. Your family needs to know that they're protected. So, when it comes to your credit and insurance, know that there are insurance companies that will pull your credit, and they will give you rates based off of your credit. So you want to make sure that, number one, your finances are well off enough that not every dime of your life insurance policy will be going to pay off debt should something happen to you. There are times where there are medical bills that are left behind. You don't want your family to be worried about what happens with those bills that are now going to be redirected to them if something were to happen to you. The importance of life insurance cannot be stressed here. Right. Families have been destroyed for lack of life insurance. Because you don't know what has to happen when it's time to pick up the pieces and move on with your life. Are they able to stay in the home? Do they have to sell the car? Do the kids have to come home from school and now drop out of school because they can no longer afford it? Right. What is the plan for when you're not here? Those are questions that you have to ask yourself. And that's part of your entire wealth and your entire financial outlook. It is what happens if I'm not here? What legacy am I leaving? Am I leaving a legacy of wealth or am I leaving a legacy of poverty?
That's great. That is.
I answered your question.
No, you are all three of you did. I mean, I think it was necessary for each of you to speak and share because it helps people to hear multiple views on one thing. If they only hear one side, they end up missing the vastness of something like that, especially when we're talking about life insurance. You just can't just give them one side. You have to present different sides of it so people can make a very well thought out decision. And when we're looking at what we're dealing with now with this wealth gap in America, I think it is necessary in our community that we begin to have these conversations. Not all these conversations are going to be easy, but it's necessary to have. And each of you kind of touched on something that I wanted to ask you in regards to the life insurance piece. Do you have to be a certain age before you start looking into getting a life insurance policy?
Good question.
Michael, you want to jump on that?
That's a great question. You have to be at least 18 in our company. And remember, when you think about life insurance, think about it. Life insurance is based off of two things: age and health. So obviously, the younger you are, because we're never going to get, as we get older, generally your health will decline if you're not maintaining it.
Right.
And so the younger you are, the more affordable it is. The healthier you are, the more affordable it is. So, and like Sean said, because like none of us know our death dates, but a lot of times people don't just die. Sometimes you get sick. If you get sick and it's terminal, that living benefit that we offer as well, if you get sick, what if you're able to get up to 70% of your policy to pay for special treatment, or if you just want to live it up? So get it while you're young. I have clients. One of my best clients, she got it when she was 22 years old. She's been a client of mine for many years, and she took out a big amount of life insurance because there were people that she loved, and she said if something happens to me, she'll have that. But also, if she'd got sick, she would get almost $400,000 of that money to pay for special treatment. Or she could just go vacation and just live it up, and the remaining benefit will go to her beneficiaries. So when you're young, get it. And then guess what? So when I got married, I had life insurance. That's just when you get married, for the people that are single on here, when you come to the table with some stuff, that lets people know that you're a little bit responsible. So I had life insurance. I was investing money. And that it just looks good. So if you want to be responsible, get it while you're young and you're healthy, and you can lock in rates for many years, right? And then depending on the renewals, we have some phenomenal renewals with our company. If you need it past, retirement age, we can assist you with that. But the goal is to get you to where you don't need it. It should only be when people are relying on you, and then you're renting that, and then you started investing money, even if it was 50. And you started with $50 a month, and then you grew it to $100 a month, $200 a month, whatever, to where you're self-insured because you've invested over $1 million+ over that time frame. So you're getting out of life insurance. Our goal is to get our clients out of life insurance and get them into where they got cash, because you can't go to the grocery store and say, "Here's my policy. I need to buy some groceries." Just don't work. So you need some money, and we want to teach our clients how to have some money.
Absolutely. Sean, I know you try to reach young people. And so do you also encourage that at a young age to get a life insurance policy?
Absolutely. And that's also another thing. It's in what would the Rockefellers do? I was trying to find the page. I couldn't remember, but that's part of in their family decree is that once you are, I believe it's 2 weeks old and have a social security number, you are insurable. So by them going through and starting off with $1 million in each child that's born, it starts off at that and it grows. They don't need the money, but $1 million child, $1 million child, $1 million child, and that just keeps building the family bank. Build the family bank. When you set the insurance up correctly, the insurance can become that family bank that you can take money from and have access to at virtually any time you need it. You don't have the penalties. You don't have the early withdrawal penalties that you can have with tax deferred plans. You don't have the required minimum distribution once you get older in life. If something happens, there's not a question of, well, am I allowed to access my money? It's just a matter of, hey, calling the company or calling me and saying, I need X amount, and then go ahead and take it out. And the cool thing is you consider it a loan, but it's not something you have to pay back. So as your cash grows and builds within there, it's all yours to use. Now, Mike, I want to ask you real quick. I know you said you got married, and when you came to the table, you said you had insurance and everything. Did you tell your wife how much you really had?
Coverage. What amount I had? Yeah,
Did you tell her exactly how much you had?
I told her exactly how much I had. Yeah. Yep. And then I upped it.
Right. When we look at it and started off for a child, the insurance on a child is very, very inexpensive. So it can actually be a great tool to be able to grow funds, to be able to use it for college if they need it for college. If they don't need it for college, then guess what? You can go ahead and keep on building that, and it can be used as a down payment on a car, down payment on a house. So again, it's just it goes back to utilizing the tools for someone's ability. If somebody has the ability to put a whole bunch in, you structure it accordingly. If not, then hey, you work with a little bit. I've done permanent plans for kids that start off at $35 a month. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people think, well, insurance on a child, why? Well, God forbid something happens, but 2020, life happens. It's not always pretty. We want to make sure it's not a financial emergency, right? When people pass away, because let's be real, guys. GoFundMe is not a life insurance policy.
No, it's not.
Right. You have to say that again, Sean.
It's not.
GoFundMe is not a life insurance policy. That's called a lack of planning. I refuse to let my family and friends and loved ones be responsible for my irresponsibilities. Right? When the time comes, everything should be laid out. It should be in place. Think of the mindset of you just lost a child. Now you have to figure out a way to make the payments and make the arrangements for giving them their final goodbye. That's not any fun. At least if you have this policy in place, you're in good shape. And also keep this in mind: as a juvenile, they don't look at your medical history because we're never younger than we are right now. We're probably not, real talk, we're probably not healthier than we are right now. Right. So as we mature and things deteriorate, our ability to be insured at an affordable rate, it declines. I was able to get a child insured when he was 17 years old, athlete, and looking at colleges to go run track. And his mom could have said, "Nah, man, you almost there, and I can't save that much for you, but I'll let you get your own. You'll be 18 in a few months." She didn't do that. She got the policy for him. The next time I went up and saw that family, I did not recognize this young man. He was so bloated and swollen, his kidneys shut down on him.
Oh.
In just a matter of 6 months, life flipped for him. They were already in a tight spot. They couldn't save a whole lot, but we were able to save something for him. They can never take that coverage away from him. And I don't know how many times his mom has called me and said, "My gosh, Sean, thank you so much for sharing, because God forbid if something does happen to him, at least I know, it's not gonna destroy us financially." Right. And thank God he is doing better now. He's taking his meds. He looks healthy again. But it's so scary because we never know what's going to happen. So do it now. Do it now while you can. Whatever you can afford to do it now. Protect yourself. Protect your family.
Right. Hey, man, I don't know. Sheree, you want to jump in on this one?
Listen, so, I'll share a story. As a referral agent, we were offered life insurance. And there was a lady who was also an agent, came in, I think maybe a couple months before I did. They had the same, offer policy. They give you the paperwork. All you got to do is sign it and return it. And sis passed away before she signed her paperwork.
Mm.
So it is crucial. I don't think that any of us can stress the importance enough. How important life insurance is, and how important it is to make your life insurance payment a priority in your budget. It should not be what you cut when you start to redo your budget. It should not be. Make sure whatever you do that you can find whatever amount of money you need to in order to pay that premium to keep that policy going, because not only is it difficult to get a policy back, your premium could go up a ridiculous amount. So if you have a policy, please continue paying on it. If it needs to be converted, talk to your agent, do what you need to do. Do not let that policy lapse without you taking action on it, because you could find yourself uninsurable, and you do not want to be in that position.
Wow, this is good information. I hope that everybody go ahead, Mike. Before you go, Michael, I just want to say this. That question Sean asked you, did you let your wife know? Sean, I believe Sister Tracy got to be the wife, because she said, yeah, he told me. Go ahead, Mike.
Right. You are on point what you just said. And I just wanted to piggyback on it because, what other bill will we have that's going to give you something? Like if you got Xfinity ain't going to say, oh, you've been a loyal customer for 3 years. Thank you so much, Mike. We're gonna lead this. We're gonna put your kids through college. We're gonna pay off your mortgage. Xfinity not gonna do that. What other deal is gonna give you something in return? And life insurance is that vehicle. That's all I wanted to say.
Listen, I have another good friend who is watching, who is tuned in. Brother Damon Drew. He's out of Michigan as well, and he's a wealth of information. I could have gotten a hold of him for this, and we probably gonna have to bring him in this conversation at one point or another. But he said assets in the life insurance are not countable towards FAFSA, and that's great to know and understand, because if you're watching this and you have children that at some point you're getting ready to send to college, and you have to fill out that FAFSA, which is for them to be able to get financial aid, those assets from your life insurance don't count towards that.
Correct.
Brother David, thank you for that information, because there's information like that in our community that will help us to close that wealth gap, that will benefit us. We have to find a way to share this information for everybody. I want to share this, and we got to bring it to a close. I know there's so much more that we could go through, and I have some other questions that were given to me, but I want to share this, and then I want each of you to provide your information, how people get in contact with you. I grew up, and my mother and father moved us out of public school systems. My sister and I was in the second grade, and she had not begun school yet. She still was in preschool, and they moved us into Lutheran school. And one of the Lutheran schools we went to, when I first started going to Lutheran school, we would go to chapel. I would see these pews with name placards on them, and I would see stained glass windows with name placards on them. I think I was about fifth grade when I finally got up the courage to ask one of my teachers, why are these name placards with individual people names on these seats? Now listen, if you grew up and went to a Pentecostal church, listen, you went to a Pentecostal church, people just claim seats and say you can't sit here because this is where I sit every Sunday. But so I was under the impression, Brother Mike, you grew up Church of God in Christ. You grew up Church of God in Christ. You grew up Pentecostal. I was under the impression if their name was on their seat, they didn't have to tell nobody this is my seat because my name was on the seat. But what I found out was that these people, watch this now, these congregants had multiple life insurance policies that when they died, they had a policy for their children. They had a policy for their grandchildren. They had a policy for the church. And that's the reason why in those churches, they were not always asking for large offerings, because as family members came into the church, they knew to leave something behind for the ministry. And the ministry kept moving forward because when someone died in the family, oh my goodness, yes, it was hard to lose a congregant, but they were leaving $500,000 policies, $1 million policies for that ministry.
Mm-hmm.
That's the wealth gap that we have to learn how to close in our community. Think about if we start doing that in our churches, and rather than having church building, fund building drives where we ask everybody pledge $5,000, we just said each family member, if you could take out a policy for the church of $20,000. We're not going to ask you for a whole lot. We'll let the Lord lead you. Leave a legacy for the church, and then policy start paying off as members begin to, you don't want to lose them, but as Sheree said, we don't plan for death. Think about what that would do in our community if we took on that same mindset. Oh my goodness. Brother Damon, I'm going to have to get you to join this. My sister Tashara said we're going to have to do this again.
All right.
We're going to have to figure out how we can come together and do this again. Listen, I'm going to give each one of you time. Sheree, I'll start with you. I'm going to give you time to share your information, how people can get in contact with you, what's the best way, what your hours are, your times are, whatever you want to do. I want to give you that opportunity to share. Take a couple minutes and share that information, and then I'll do the same thing with Sean and with Michael.
All right. Well, I really do appreciate the opportunity to, speak and be a part of this discussion. It is so important to plan. And I believe that, and I hope that we have given you all enough information to do so. You can reach me. I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, Sheree Mativia Enterprises. You can also reach me by phone. You can text me 240-422-8241. You can also email me at path2 800 path2 800 And, I look forward to connecting with you guys because, again, if you really are looking for a change, if you're looking for something different, if you know that the way that you've been doing things, it can't be done like that anymore, you need to give me a call because we need to figure out what the plan for you should be going forward, how we can execute that plan and get you on the path that you truly want to be towards financial freedom.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sheree. I appreciate you coming on, and we're going to have to do this again. We're just going to have to figure out how we can do it and make time to make it happen.
Anytime, call me. I'm available.
All right. Brother Sean, come on. I'm going to give you that same opportunity. Share your information, how people get in contact with you, and your services. I'll give you the opportunity to share.
Cool. Right on. Thank you again, Elder Lott. So I want to talk about real quick the initial fact of when we talk about insurance. If we each had a toaster that spit out $10,000 every single month, would we insure that toaster? Heck yeah, we absolutely would. Well, guess what? We are that toaster. We are that toaster that spits out that 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is we make every single month, and we bring that to our families, to ourselves all the time. The only insurance we're not forced to have by the government, by anyone, is insurance on ourselves because that's the only place they don't have to step in if something happens to us. So I welcome all of you to reach out. I love to share the information. All of my services are complimentary. I work with a bunch of A-rated companies. If they're not A-rated, they get dropped off my platform. I'd love to sit down with you, review, share some information with you. See what type of path you're on right now. If you haven't even started that path, that's all good too. I can help you put that plan together. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. My cell number is 650-201-3423. Again, 650-201-3423. You can email me at Sean, SEAN.WFGJohnson@gmail.com. So I look forward to reaching out to all of you, and anybody that reaches out to me that was on here today, I'd love to share a couple of the books with you. There's knowledge in books, and hey, I don't think it should be kept captive from anyone. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Sean. Man, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for sharing your time. And like I said to Sheree, we are going to have to figure out how we can do this again and continue this conversation, because this is much needed information, and we want to continue to educate others on how to move forward. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
All right, brother Michael, I'm gonna give you that same space. Just share your information, how people get in contact with you, and the services that you're able to provide them.
Awesome. Again, Elder, greatly appreciate this opportunity, Sean and Sheree, to be on this panel with you all. My name, Michael Badon. You can reach me. My email is mbadon at primerica.com. You can contact me. My cell phone number is 248-872-2903. And I work in an opportunity. I had a appointment today with a client that wanted to become a business partner of ours. So if you want an additional stream of income and you want to get in the money game, because there's money in money, we're always looking for motivated, ambitious individuals that want to develop another skill set, add another skill to your portfolio, or have a spare tire, use something else in your back pocket. God forbid if something were to happen with your job. I'm always looking to train and develop people. We have a phenomenal field training bonus opportunity where we get people to can get involved in our industry and learn about the financial services industry and get paid while they learn. So you can learn while you earn, and then you can get those credentials. We'll show you how to get those licenses. So if you want to make some money, I'm looking to bring on some ambitious individuals. And of course, if you want to put a plan together, that wealth package, what I talked about, if you want to start and get some information on that, you can contact me direct 248-872-2903, or you could email me, or you can go to my website. My email is on there. You just click the email hyperlink and you can send me a message. But I'm all for helping our community and impacting our world. I'm licensed right now in 10 states. If you live in a state that I'm not licensed in, it costs me a couple of dollars. I'll be in that state within a week. So I'm wide open, all 50 states, and I'm here to help.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on and sharing. And I still have to finish my training with you,
yes,
because I am moving forward. I'm looking forward to building another stream of income, and then also being able to get the information that you have so I can share with others as you have shared on today. So thank you, man. I greatly appreciate you so much, and thank you for coming on. Listen, everyone, I hope that this has been a blessing to you. I hope that you have been benefited by this information. And if you have any questions, any comments, just feel free to email me at jarrettlott@jdlministry.com. I'll make sure I get your information to any one of the three, or to all three of our presenters on today. My email address there is in the bottom, Jarrett Lott, JARRETT, Lott, LOTT, at jdlministries3.com. Email me. I'll get your information to them. I'll share it. Or if you just have questions in regards to this ministry and what we're doing, this ministry is for the whole man, for the total man. It is not just in regards to biblical teaching, but finances is also a part of biblical teachings as well. And so this ministry that God has given me is for the whole man. And I just believe in empowering people. I want to make sure that you have information that's going to be beneficial to you, as well as you are blessed. The Bible said, I would that you prosper as well, and the wealth prosper as well as your soul prosper. So there's more to prosperity than just wealth, but their health, your understanding of what you have available to you, what God has given you to be a steward over. All of that plays into it. God bless you. Thank you for being with us on today. This has been a great session, great information. Thank you, Brother Michael Badon. Thank you, Brother Sean Johnson. Thank you, Sister Sheree Mativia. God bless you. And I hope that you will join us at other times, and we will continue to be a blessing to you, to the body of Christ. God bless you. Have a blessed rest of your day.